The forward pass is probably the most exciting play in all of sports. But here's the thing. It wasn't some stroke of genius cooked up by a brilliant coach. Nope, it was an accident, a desperate fix for a crisis so deadly it almost got the entire sport of football completely banned. So let's get into the crazy story of the accidental play that saved football from itself.
When you picture football today, what do you see? You see Patrick Mahomes launching a 60-yard bomb, right? A quarterback just masterfully picking apart a defense. The entire game, this massive multi-billion-dollar spectacle we all watch, is built around one thing: throwing the ball forward.
Okay, but let's hop in a time machine and go way back to this year, 1905. The game they were playing on college fields back then, you wouldn't even recognize it. It was this brutal, grinding, bloody sport that honestly looked more like a medieval battle than anything you'd see on a Saturday afternoon.
That's right. Can you believe it? The single most important, most defining play in modern football was completely against the rules. It was actually seen as, kind of cowardly. The only way you were allowed to move the ball was to smash it straight into a human wall, over and over again.
Well, that violence had reached a tipping point. Seriously, newspapers across the country were calling for the sport to be abolished. Big-name universities were actually dropping their football programs. The sport was literally on its deathbed. So, what happened? Who or what pulled it back from the edge?
To really get it, we have to look at how this game was actually played. It wasn't about clever plays or fancy footwork. Oh no, it was all about pure, unadulterated brute force.
And the most famous, or maybe I should say infamous, play was called the flying wedge. Just picture this. The entire offensive team links arms, forming this V-shaped human battering ram, and then they just sprint full speed right at the defense. The goal wasn't just to gain yards, it was to physically break the other team. And the results were, they were horrific. You gotta remember, players had almost no padding. Maybe a thin little leather cap on their head, that's it. So these massive collisions led to just catastrophic injuries. We're not talking sprained ankles here. We're talking fractured skulls, broken backs, internal bleeding, injuries that all too often were fatal. And if you think I'm exaggerating, just look at the numbers. The Chicago Tribune actually tracked the carnage of the 1905 season. In that one season alone, 19 players died on the field. 19! And another 137 were seriously hurt. The public was understandably outraged. Football's days looked like they were numbered.
But just as the sport was about to be kicked to the curb for good, it found a savior in the most unlikely of places: the White House.
Yep, President Theodore Roosevelt was a massive football fan. He absolutely loved it. He saw it as this perfect example of what he called the strenuous life. He thought it built tough, rugged character that America needed. But he was also a pragmatist. He knew if players kept dying, the game was toast. Forever.
So in October of 1905, he called the head coaches of the Big Three, Harvard, Yale, and Princeton, to the White House, and he basically laid down the law. He gave them this powerful ultimatum, making it crystal clear: you guys fix this game, or I'm going to let Congress abolish it. Period. And guess what? Roosevelt's threat worked. The coaches, the universities, they knew he wasn't bluffing. So that meeting led directly to the creation of a brand new rules committee, which, by the way, was the forerunner to today's NCAA. Their mission was simple: save football from itself.
And for the 1906 season, they came up with some really radical changes designed to open the game up and make it safer. First, they created the neutral zone, that little gap between the offense and defense, to stop those instant head-on collisions. Then they doubled the yards needed for a first down, from 5 to 10, to discourage those endless, grinding running plays. And then the big one, the most controversial one: they legalized the forward pass.
But here's the funny part. Making the pass legal didn't instantly create the game we know and love today. Not even close. For years, most teams saw it as this weird, high-risk, low-reward gimmick. Something you just didn't do.
And you can see why, because the first set of rules for it were just absurd. Get this, an incomplete pass wasn't just a loss of down, it was an immediate turnover. The other team got the ball right there. Plus, you couldn't even catch it more than 20 yards downfield, the QB had to be way back, and the ball itself was shaped like a fat watermelon, making it a nightmare to throw with any accuracy.
Just stop and imagine that turnover rule today. Every time a quarterback throws a pass and it hits the ground, the other team gets the ball. Can you imagine? No team would ever risk it, and for years, they didn't. The forward pass was in the rule book, but it wasn't really in the game. But that all changed in one single legendary game. And it was all thanks to a small, underdog team from the Midwest and two players who spent their summer practicing on a beach.
Okay, so picture this. It's the summer of 1913. A Notre Dame quarterback named Gus Doris and his favorite receiver, a guy you might have heard of, Knute Rockne, are working as lifeguards on a beach in Ohio. And in their downtime, they did something nobody else was really doing. They just practiced over and over, throwing and catching that weird watermelon football while running at top speed. Then, that fall, their little-known team travels to play the national powerhouse, Army.
I mean, nobody gave Notre Dame a prayer, but instead of just running the ball into Army's huge defensive line, Doris kept dropping back and firing passes to Rockne. The Army defense, the crowd, the entire football world was just in complete shock. They had literally never seen anything like it. And the final score said it all. Notre Dame didn't just squeak out a win. They blew Army out. They proved to everyone that the forward pass wasn't some silly gimmick. It was a revolutionary strategic weapon, and it was, without a doubt, the future of the sport. After that, the secret was out.
So the next time you're watching a game and you see a quarterback throw a game-winning touchdown, just remember this whole story. Remember that beautiful, elegant play exists for one reason, because football used to be so violent that the President of the United States had to step in and save it. The forward pass wasn't designed for excitement, it was designed for survival. And that one accidental innovation, well, it changed everything.